Hey everybody, I got a new knife review for you. This is on the Gerber Strata. This is the new multi-tool that my friend let me borrow, and I figured I'd just show it to you and compare it to a Leatherman just real quick. You know, my opinion is Gerber makes a nice multi-tool, but I have to agree with a lot of people on the internet that say that it's almost a multi-tool. You know, there's a few inherent issues with it, especially for the money that you pay for it, in comparing it to other multi-tools in its class. So let me just get it out real quick. Here's the knife sheath it comes in. The sheath's really nice. It actually locks up really tight in here, and it's got two ways that you can wear it on your belt. Leatherman generally has some sort of similar knife sheath on theirs, but if you wiggle it like this, their knife rolls around in it. So I think Gerber has them beat here in the sheath category, but I have to say that's about it. Fit and finish of this knife, let me just pull it out. This is an aluminum knife with a lot of plastic on it. If that bothers you, I wouldn't buy this. It's got plastic right here, and then it's actually got a plastic lock on it. You know, other than that, everything's made out of steel or aluminum, and everything locks up tight. I've noticed just in having it just a couple days that this aluminum coating really scratches easily. So if that's something you're not into too, this knife probably isn't for you. The other thing I'm noticing is just the overall fit and finish, and I'll show you what I'm talking about because there are a few examples on this knife. Let's look at this side real quick, up real close. You can see this side of the knife locks up really tight right there. But if you flip it over, look at that right there. It's not perfect. You know, Leatherman has them beat there. If you're going to pay a lot of money for something, it should lock up tight. The other thing I'm noticing is if you flip it on top, right here, look at this. This side's just slightly higher right there on that. Leatherman has them beat there too, and maybe other multi-tool brands for all I know. Like I said, if you're paying a lot of money, it ought to lock up perfectly. The other thing I'm noticing that doesn't lock up great, and let me find the tool here, and I tell you what, here's the magic trick of this knife. This knife is easy to get to tools on the outside. Like, it's easy to get to that tool, it's easy to get to the saw, but if you need to get to something in the middle and don't want to use your fingernail, you can engage the lock, and did you guys see that pop up? You can flip it right out just like that. So I have a screw here handy, and I just want to show you guys this. Here is their Phillips head, and here's a standard Phillips screw. If you notice, there's some wiggle in there. Now granted, it does turn it, and it does lock in there fairly tight, but it's not as tight as other knives, and let me show you what I'm talking about. Here's the Leatherman Wave. If I put the Wave in there and I show the same screw, look at that. That's in there really tight. It fits perfectly. It just seems like it's designed a little better. And here's another example. Here is the Leatherman rebar. Same thing, different tip. Put it in there. The lockup is so tight it barely moves in there. So I just think their overall fit and finish of the knife isn't as perfect as I'd like to see it. But let's go over the tools real quick. There are some benefits to the Gerber Strata. The tools are accessible from the outside. Now on the Leatherman Wave, that's about what you get. But on the Leatherman rebar, it may have it beat there. You can access the tools from the outside, so let's just go over them real quick. It's got a combo knife. It's got the knife in the Gerber serrations. Now the serrations may be a pain in the butt to sharpen, and an improvement to this might be to have two blades on this knife. One plain edge and one serrated. I don't know, but that's up to Gerber. That's just my take. It would be nice to have two. The other thing they have is a can opener / bottle opener. They have a large bladed Phillips head. Pair of scissors. I've been carrying this knife for a couple of weeks, and I've used the scissors quite a bit. I have a son, and when he gets a drink somewhere, the straw is always too long, so I end up cutting it off constantly. So this is nice to have for me. I've used those scissors quite a bit. They work very well. On the other side we have a saw. We have our, see, it's hard to get these middle tools up, so you got to use the lock to pop them up. We have our handy little package opener, and I've used this quite a bit in the last couple weeks. It actually works quite well for what it is. All it is a slotted edge that if you buy a package that's really hard to open, you jam that in there and then run that edge around the top of the package. Then we have our small slotted screwdriver. Our Phillips bit we already had a look at, and then this is our file. So all in all, it's pretty standard like any other multi-tool. It does have a benefit in that it is spring-loaded in the action right here, which is kind of nice. Leatherman doesn't do that. It would be nice if they did. One standard thing I like to do with any multi-tool that has interchangeable wire cutters here is I like to take these screws out and put a little blue Loctite on them. That's just personal preference. I don't know if that's required or not, but one thing I noticed is that when you pull this as tight as you can, if you notice, there's no gap in there right now. When I first bought this, there was a tiny gap, and by loosening these screws, you can adjust the cutters just a hair and then tighten them back up to where you want that. So I think removing them and putting them back in with a little blue Loctite is beneficial just because you get them lined up to where a point where you want them to be. My overall opinion of this knife is the locks are nice and they're easy to use. You know, the package opening tool is just a bonus. I've never seen that before on any other knife. And then the trick to getting to those middle tools is key, because if you don't know that, then you're never going to get them to open. The statistics of this knife: the finish is a brushed stainless steel, the overall length is 6 inches, the closed length is 4 inches, the weight is 7.4 ounces, and it comes with an excellent nylon sheath. Now, 7.4 ounces puts you just slightly over the Leatherman rebar. It's a great knife. I don't know if I'd shell out the money myself for this, but I am going to carry it a little longer and see how I like it. I think I like the Wave better, but that's just out of personal preference. But we'll see how it compares, you know. It's got some nice features on it. So anyway, thanks for watching, and everybody have a good day.